What's up, functional bodybuilders? We're talking about the seated good morning today. Specifically, we're going to look at the wide stance seated good morning, and then I'm going to show you some other variations that are going to help you understand what you're trying to accomplish. The seated good morning is a terrific exercise for lengthening and strengthening the glutes. I always encourage people to start with the dumbbell seated good morning variation. That is the safest position to start in. It's also going to give you a lot of repetitions learning the movement pattern and developing the motor control. Once the flexibility is there, once the base foundational strength is there, then we can progress to a barbell and we can start to play around with the width of our stance. A dumbbell seated good morning you can set up at the edge of your bench or a box. Ideally, you want your hip slightly higher than your knee, which works perfectly on this bench for me. It's about the same height. And then I want my heels slightly in front of my knees. From here, I am literally going to hold the dumbbells between, hinge forward, touch the ground, and back up. All the while, I'm trying to keep my back extremely flat. I'm not specifically thinking about doing anything with my pelvis, rolling it forward, rolling it back. When I sit in this neutral posture at the beginning, my pelvis is neutral, my spine is neutral, and as I come forward to the ground, that remains completely consistent and constant. All that's changing is the angle between my thighs and my torso. Now, at some point, you're gonna wanna graduate from this because you can't get full range of motion. And what we're aiming to do is actually build great flexibility here, and I want to get a little bit deeper. So at that point, I would progress to a barbell. Now, from here, you might want to switch to that traditional stance, but if you rotate your body, now you have a target to aim for. I'm going to ultimately be trying to get my abdominals or my belly down to the bench. I'm only wanting to go as far as I can maintain that neutral spine and neutral pelvis position that we started with. And over time, it is going to look like me touching my abs to the bench. That is now my full range of motion. I'm not trying to touch my chest necessarily. I'm trying to touch just my abdominals. Okay, lastly, once we've learned that, we can start loading it and we can stay relatively safe. If you are concerned about your safety and the bar being on your back and not knowing how to get out of it, then lower the weight, do more repetitions at that lighter weight, or find a way to set up a safety squat rack where you will have a place to dump the bar should you get in a bad position. Progression looks like adding load, or it looks like changing foot position. If I go wider with my feet in a wide stance seated good morning, then I'm gonna find that the flexibility component's a bit easier because now the glutes aren't being challenged as much, but I'm getting this adductor component in my hamstrings. I'm getting a stretch there, which is a powerful way to add some mobility and some strength to the posterior chain and this medial chain of the adductor. So again, neutral position in my spine and my pelvis, bringing my abdominals down towards the ground, not thinking about bringing my chest down. If I bring my chest down, I'm gonna roll my back forward, which is not what we're aiming for, and back up. Again, this is not an exercise that I think needs to be loaded extremely heavy to be beneficial. I would stick with lighter loads, and I'd work on range of motion, and save your heavy loads for movements like the sumo deadlift, or the deadlift, or the clean, or other things that we use inside of functional bodybuilding. I hope that helps. If you got questions, drop them in the comments below. See you next time.